Welcome to Clean Air Vapor's video series on building a POS system for your small business. I'm Timothy Haid. I'll be your host. I am using Filemaker 14 Pro. This video series is an extended series of videos to help the small business owner cope with the overwhelming cost of digital sales recording and accounting. These are a full-feature integrated data system and inventory management solution that I designed, and I wanted to share that with every small business owner I could. I hope you enjoy the video. Let me know if you do in the comments below. Thank you for watching and enjoy the video. Welcome back to our videos on creating a POS system for your small business. If you had left your system alone and you exited it during the last video, it should have came up just like this, exactly in the right spot. If not, I'm sure that you can find your way to that by basically selecting this and making sure that you are in the editing platform where you can actually edit things. And you go to the inventory modifier through this drop down list and it will bring you here. So from here, one of the things that we wanted to do was we wanted to create a very quick script so that if you were to put information here, what actually happens? What are you going to the location 1C. So we want to actually transfer the data from here to here, but then we also want to add that data or those changes actually to a monitor or a report so that we know this price was actually, or this quantity was actually changed. We want to know when it happened, why it happened, everything there is to know about it. So currently we're just going to go ahead and leave that be. We don't really need to make those changes at this time. When we get into scripting, there's going to be so much scripting that you'll probably need to wear your old man glasses by the time it is done, or old person glasses. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to just go ahead and create a new layout. And we can show records from the inventory because that's exactly what we want. This time we want to name this the inventory underscore, well, you know what, let's just name it inventory. There's no reason to name it anything else, is that we've named this one the inventory modifier. We want to select the computer view and we want it to be a list view, and we are finished. Now what it will do is it will create this cute little thing here, and interestingly, just go ahead and zoom out to 100%. There it is, the whole thing, and we're just going to select the fields that we actually want in there. So the field picker, we can have the ID number and we can scooch it in here. Just make sure that they are all in the dead center, and the product ID. Now if you want to put the SKU number in there, you can do that. It just depends on how big of a SKU number you're actually going to have, because this particular form is going to take a giant amount of space. And from this point, we're going to want to go ahead and put in our category. And if we go here, we can, you can select that. If you just push the blue part and not the drop down part, what it will do is it will open this up for you so that you can actually, if you want to, you can actually make this bigger. And as this is a computer only view, I highly recommend that that's exactly what you do, because you're going to need to pretty much put everything, all of your information on here. So currently we are at the category. Then we are going to go the location 1 stock, the location 2 stock, how much we have, and then the complete stock. We're going to want the regular price, and the sale price, and the minimums field. We're not going to want any of the rest of that junk, but we are going to want the minimums field. And let me just do this. Let me pull this over here. What I like to do is I like to put my minimums fields right next to. This is minimum 1 field, so I like to put it right next to that field, or right next to the location. So minimum 1, minimum 2, we'll select minimum 2 and stick it in there, and then we'll bring these all back to here, nice and tight. And then we can go across. Let's see, go across a little bit. We still have plenty of room to put things should we need to. We don't really need to do very much here. You will need a note field. Because the note field that you're going to use is going to tell you to reorder stock should you need it. And what I'm thinking is I may just add another field to this particular this table. So why don't I just go ahead and do that really quick. Let me go, and I clicked on that little thing. I'm just going to add a new one, and I'm going to put reorder underscore box. And it's going to be a text, and I'm going to just go ahead and create it, and then I'm going to select OK, and then it should come up instantly, or there near instantly. Reorder box. Now you can have a number of these if you want to. You can have several of them, and you can put them. You can have your location, inventory, and then your minimum, and then the reorder box right next to that. And then that way you know per location where to reorder. Or you can just have one, and that if this minimum or this minimum goes below, or if this location inventory goes below this minimum, or if this location inventory goes below this minimum, that the reorder box will say reorder product. And then you just have to look at it, and that's usually the easiest way to do it. You don't necessarily need to do anything more than that. Now, if we exit the layout, what we automatically notice is that we already have products populated in here, because these are fields that we used. The only thing is that we have no idea what any of this information is. So we need to make sure that we put labels on all of this stuff. And so I'm going to stop the video, and then I'm going to put labels on all of this stuff. And then as soon as I come back, but let's do this first. Let's edit the layout. Let's grab the header, because as you know, I like to have larger headers. We're going to go to the position, and we are going, its height is 37. I want it to be 100. We will click off of it. And now we have a much larger header that we can actually work with. Some of the other things that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to layout, and we're going to want to go to part setup. Part setup. And you have the header, the body, and the footer. Well, we're going to want to create a sub-summary part, basically. We're going to want to separate them when they are separated by category. And we're going to select OK. And we're going to say we want to print it above it or below it. Well, I like to print it above it. I also want to do create a sub-summary part when sorted by the category. And I'm going to say OK. And this one I'm going to print below. And now I am done. Now you can see the sub-summary parts, and here they are, little itty-bitty dang things. We'll click on that. Let's see what it will, if it will let me do anything. Nope. Isn't that amazing? I can't even get close to it. So there it is. So if I updated it to 200, now I can actually grab the dang thing. That was pretty tiny, but it was actually 4 points in height. Well, you want that to be 30 points in height. It's just going to be an absolute normal that you want it to be about 30 points in height, and you want your bottom one to be about 15 points in height. Because you really don't need anything on the bottom, but you can put things on the bottom. So should you decide to put a total number of products or something, or some type of a summary system there, you can do that very easily. I like to just kind of give it a little break so that when you're putting all this stuff together, it really looks pretty nice. So we'll just go ahead and leave that the way that it is, and I'm going to reduce this back down to 100. You can see where we are. Now I'm going to go ahead and populate this with the sub-summary part with our our identifiers, our labels for what all of this stuff is, and then I will come back on. That way we're not wasting a lot of time, and then I will come back on and we will take a look at what I have done. I suggest you do the same. It's pretty simple. Just add labels and come right back, and we'll go ahead and add everything else that we want to the top. I will see you in a minute. Okay, we've made those changes, and as you can tell, I have went ahead and put my labels in, and I made them a very dark color. I'm kind of muted about it. I don't really need to have them bright yellow to really stick out, because for one, I know what all this stuff is, but if you really want to see the whole thing, you can go to a much smaller, just go to 75. So something that we're going to do is, the first thing that we want to do is we want to put in a your store and then a location with city name, and we're just going to go ahead and click off of that. And as you can tell, I also did a lot of spacing, so I spaced a lot of my stuff out. And we're just going to kind of hover around. Oh, look, there it is. I found the dead center, and we're just going to go ahead and stick that as far up to the top as we can. We're just going to leave it very small. And then the next one that we're going to put in is we are going to put this as inventory management center, and click off of it. And now we're going to want to make this pretty good size. So 36 or 48, either is fine. I actually like the 48. Find the dead center. If you are having a tough time finding a dead center, you know that it's there, you can always let go and just use the directional keys, and the directional keys will really help you manage that. And then your store location is just a system of knowing that it's you, this is your store. You can also have this as an identifier. So if you are going to want to have two of these, interestingly enough. One of them for the administrator and one of them for a manager. So if you're going to do a manager's one for a manager's one, then I would suggest putting a box in here, and we're just going to make a little box. As a matter of fact, I think I'll increase it to back to that. And let's go to the back office. So now we're not actually going to do anything right now. We're just going to kind of leave that exactly the way it is, but I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Ooh, look what happened. See how it just went down? Isn't that interesting? So what do we do with that? Buffer zones. Exactly. That's exactly what we need to do, is we need to change the buffer zone. So what we can do is we can decrease this one until you can see it. And then once you see it, you're good to go. I also want to change these because you know me, I love to change things, make them different. And I'm going to circle it with a you know what? I am going to circle it with a light kind of a purplish color, just to kind of make it stick out. And put this over here. So what this button does is this button allows you to go back to the back office when you are in here. Now your product ID, so let's click on the product ID. One thing that we're going to want to do with this product ID is we're going to want to change the text color. So you can make it pretty much any color that you want. If you're using this particular theme, you're using the electric theme, changing it to blue as a hyperlink would be near impossible, so we're just not going to do that, but we're going to go ahead and click on it. We're going to underline it. And the reason why is because now we want it to know that it's something different. And we know that that's exactly what it is. But what we want to do is we want it to do something should we touch it. So let's go to button setup. And it says do nothing. Well, we actually want it to do something. We want it to find that product. So we're going to tell it to go to a layout, and the layout that we want it to go to is the inventory modifier. And that should work. Let's see if it does. Let's exit the layout. So now if we select this button, and what we should have done, let's change it to the hand over button set out. Options, change to hand over cursor. So, and now if we go to this button, it should take us right to the record that we're looking for instantly. And now that we've done that, we can actually create this button. So let's go here and let's double click on this one, and what do we want it to do? We want it to perform a single step. We want it to go to a layout, double click it, and the layout that we want it to go to is the inventory, and we will call that good. And then this button, we're going to rename it, and we're going to call this the menu button. And we want it to do a single step. We want it to go to a layout. And that layout will be our menu 1. Or we could just go to the launch page. So let's just go to the launch page, because that makes more sense for what we're doing. These other buttons, you can click on them and just erase what's there. You don't, and if you haven't found out yet, you can actually just click away and it will close the window. So, oop, look at that. I didn't even do it. It didn't disappear. Okay. So now, when we do this button action, it's a single step. We want to make sure that we have set that up so that, set up, change to hand over cursor, button setup, change to hand over button. And so now, and these buttons don't necessarily need to stick out. If you listen to my other videos, I usually make my buttons just stick out like crazy. I make them very colorful and very crazy, very much like the admin box. I change a lot of things. Now, this admin box that we're doing, that will actually take you to an administrator section. So the first thing that we're going to do is, let's exit this layout. Let's go to the list view. Now here we have these records, and there's, as you can tell, you can't even see what is going on. So we would literally have to go here and sort, pick the category, move it over there, create it in ascending or descending order, whichever we want to do, and then keep the records in the sorted order. But it won't keep the records in the sorted order all the time. It will change them. So now we can actually see these little things. So what we can do is we can create a sort button here. And how we do that is we need to edit the layout. Let's go ahead and zoom in so we can see what we're doing. We're going to select this, Control, drag, and you don't have to go up if you don't want to. You can go down if you want to. You can do anything that you want to. Sort record. And what we want it to do is we want it to do a single step. And this is quite interesting. You can actually just type in sort, and it'll be like sort records, or sort records by field, sort records. That's what we want to do. And then we want to do that. We want to go ahead and perform it without dialogue, but we want a specific order, and that order is by the category, and either ascending or descending order makes no difference. Ascending, the A's would be at the bottom. Descending, the A's would be at the top. So let's just go with that and call it good. And now, and I didn't even change it to the button setup, so change hand over cursor. Look how good we are. Now when and you know what we can do, click on it, and we can change this color to a lighter color, a different color. Some they're different colors. Now, if you want to, you could take this and you could move it here, which would be just fine. So now they're right next to each other. Make that a darker color. What is up with these buttons? Look at how that size doesn't the size look different? Let's find out. Let's go to position. So 137, 136.27. Aha! See, they are different. 136.30. So let's make this one 136.30. I like, you know, when the buttons are the same, that's fine, but when they're not the same, then you kind of be like, what? That's not correct. As you can tell, this one is not centered, and this one is not centered either. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to go ahead and go into the appearance. We're going to go into our buffer, and we are going to increase this until it gets to the center. And see, now it's in the center. So we'll go here, and we'll click it a couple of times and put them in the same place. And now we should be good to go. We can close that out. We can go back to here. Now, if you want to, you can do anything that you want to basically with these. I like to put the buttons right next to each other, and I like the buttons obviously to be different. You can make this one a different color if you want to, but remember, these are very much more likely management people or people that have a brain cell and they will actually know what they're doing. So this is not like you're running a cashier through here. So we'll exit the layout. The sort records one works and the back office one does not work because we haven't yet gotten there, and for some weird reason every time I go up there we go, it just likes that. So now what we need to do is we need to go in very quickly, and we're just going to manage our layouts, and we're going to go to our inventory one, and we're going to duplicate it. If we're satisfied, if this is what we want, we're going to duplicate it, and then we're going to edit it, and we're going to change the name to inventory admin. And we're just going to say OK. The reason why we just did that is because we want a page that the administrator can make any changes that he wants, but the manager can't, because the administrator will actually be able to change every single one of these boxes that he chooses. All he has to do is change it. Where you don't want a manager to be able to do that. So these particular boxes, we want them to stay so that they cannot be changed in this particular set. So we're going to go ahead and highlight all of those, and we're going to go here. We're going to go into the data section, and we're going to say do not change these. And you shouldn't be able to change the product ID because of the way that we created it. So a normal, because every time that you basically, so if I go to manage, let's see, what am I doing? Get off of this. Okay, so now you can see I can't change anything, and that button lights up, but every time I push that button, it takes me here. Go back to the list view. I can't change absolutely anything. But if I were to go to the admin one, I could then change those. And we will create an admin screen, but for right now, it's okay if that just stays there right where it is. I have no qualms with it staying there. We will basically just live with that. We did notice, though, that our back office or our inventory management, this particular button, this particular ID is not creating a number. And so what we can do is we can go here and we can click on it, and we can shimmy it down. If it's not going to create a number, which is fine with me, actually, I don't really care. And we can move, if we're going to just grab all of this, we're just going to slide it over until it touches our SKU number. Hopefully it's long enough, we have enough information there with our SKU number. And our product name, we're just going to go ahead and slide over. Now, all that we're doing is we're just creating a buffer between these, because we kind of like to have a little bit of a buffer between all of these. So we're just going to move them until we get them right where we want them. And these I want like an entire slew of them. Leave those right there. Give myself just a little bit more room on this. Sale price. There we go. A little bit easier. If you have room in between them, it tends to work out really well, because then you get to be able to know what's there and why it's there and all that other neat, interesting stuff. So now we have 2 inventory management centers. Don't forget that. Of course, I won't let you forget it. Don't worry about it. You and I will be together for a long time as we go through this. Now, one of the things that we are going to need to do is when we go, you are going to need a button that will take you away from here. That will, of course, you have this button, so you can always just go to your plain hot dogs. But you will need, if you have a manager, you have someone that is actually doing something, you will need to be able to create. And so we're going to go ahead and click on this, and we're going to click on this button, button action, and we're going to say single step. And what we're going to do is, let's go to records, and then new record request. We'll double click on it, and there it is. And now I'm going to double click on it. Come on. So it gives me the name. So what we did was, or what we're doing is, we double clicked on this and we changed it to the word new, but we actually wanted it to be new record, and change to hand over cursor. Now this new record button, what it will do is it will create a new record every time that someone pushes on it. So if we exit the layout, and now we're editing the layout, and we see that here we have this information, and we're like, well, you know, I really need to create a new record. So if we now push on this, it automatically creates a new record, and you notice the ID went over there. So we're going to call this one iced or ice tea, and the category is going to be drinks. And we're not going to add any notes unless we want to. This one we could say without sugar, with sugar, whatever the case might be. We have 100 of them that we know of in stock at both locations, so we're just going to go ahead and add that. We know that the base price is $1.50, and the sale price is also $1.50 should we need them. And we want to add minimum. So let's say if we get below 50, we want that to it to tell us. And we don't want to add a lot of inventory. We don't want to add a lot of stock, because we haven't yet created this the script yet. So if we go to new record, it just automatically puts it in there. We go to list view, and there it is. It now puts it under a different category. But something that we have noticed, or something that you may have noticed, is that you cannot, it says category here, category drinks, category basic foods, but there's nothing that just rings out here and says, okay, this is what the category is. And let me show you how to fix that really super quick. So we're going to go to Edit Layout, and we're just going to get rid of the product ID, just the label, and the basic and the ID number and the product ID. So, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go to text, and we're going to put the text here, and we're going to Control M, which is merge fields, and we're going to select the category by double clicking it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to click away from it to let it get where it wants to be. We're going to either select a 24 or an 18. Probably an 18 would be better. We will make it a very, should we pick red or should we pick yellow? Probably yellow. I think yellow is probably best. And we can make it bold if we want to. Make sure that when you're doing your categories that you are keeping your category, the name of your category down. You don't want a category to be something like, this is sweet tea with sugar or natural sugar instead of stevia, and that's the category. So keep the category to 1 or 2 words so that they fit easily. And now when we exit the layout, we see drinks and basic foods. And so we don't really know what these are, but we don't care because you and I know what these are. These are actually your product ID numbers. And we obviously have no SKUs. We didn't add any SKUs. I think we could possibly do that in the future. You can't change anything here. So let us work on a quick script that will basically put the information from one box into another box. So we'll edit and we'll manage, and let's go into scripts, and we have none, so we'll need to add a new one. And this script we are going to call well, it's location 1, so it'll be inventory 1, and then we'll just do add. And so there's our very first script, and we've done absolutely nothing to it. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to freeze the window. So we're just going to click here, and we're just going to type in the word freeze, and freeze window, click off of it. And now we're going to, we want to go to the field that we're actually looking for, and that field will be the target field, and that is going to be location 1 change, right? That's what we want. So we want to go to that field. Now we want to set a variable. And there's the set variable. So set variable, and the we're just going to call this add inventory. Actually, let's just call this add stock, because we don't want it to get too crazy. So the add stock is basically the location 1 change, right? Because that's the box that it's sitting in. And so we just want to say, okay, here is this information. So we're going to grab it and we're going to set a variable. That's all we're doing, is we're basically just grabbing that number that is in there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to set a field, and here it is right here in my favorites. So we will specify the target field that we want it to go into, and we want it to go into location 1 stock. And what is the calculated result? So the calculated result is the location 1 stock plus, and then we need to type in this variable. So what we do is we need to type in that variable exactly as it is over here. So you can put these down here and you can see that it's $add stock. So we're going to $, and it has to be exact. So don't make even any mistakes at all. And then press OK. Now what we want it to do is we want it to go ahead and set the other field to 0. So we're going to set our field, which would be location 1 change, and the calculated result will just be these two little guys right here, and that's good enough for me. And now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and return to the just go to. So let's type in go to, because we need to end it. So just tell it to go to the original layout and you should be good. So now if you Control S, see this little thing right here? This is telling you it's not saved. So Control S and it automatically saves it. And now it's add inventory, add 1, and we're good to go. Now how we want to do this is let's go to that inventory modifier, and here is the field basically that we selected and what we wanted, or that we actually wrote a script for. So what we want to do is we want to set a script trigger. So either on object enter, on the keystroke, on the modifier, on object save, or on object exit. This is when do you actually want this to happen. Well, we want it if you were to click off of it, and we're just going to say that's what we want it to do, and then we'll say OK. And now what happens is if you exit the layout and you make a change, so let's say I make a change to this and I say back, and I say 100, it automatically selects it, and see how it cleaned up this field. So now the field is gone. Now I didn't write in there the script that would cause the to create a record, and I will show you how to do that. Right now I just merely wanted to put that script together so that we could do this. And what we can do as well is we can go into the edit mode. We can edit these. We can select this one, and we can right click it. We can duplicate it, and then if you click in the upper thing a couple of times, it will allow you to change it. So what we're going to do is we're going to inventory to add, and now what we want it to do is we want it to go to the field, but we want it to be location to change, right? Because we're doing a different thing. We can go ahead and set the exact same variable, the variable name, but we do want to change that to location to change. So we will go here and we'll be location to change, double click it, and it's in there. And then set to field location 1 stock. Well, we need it to be location 2 stock. And then we want to set the field location to change to nothing, and then just return to the original layout, and we're good to go. So we click down, Control S to save it, and we can close this window. And now we can do the same thing with this. We can do the script trigger on object enter or exit, excuse me, and then inventory to, and we're good to go. So now what happens is if you make a change and you select this field and you say we just got 100 in, and the minute you click off of it, which verifies that it's there, should put your 100 into here, but it didn't. Notice it put a 200 into here for some reason. And so now we need to figure out, why did you put 200 in there? So let's click here and let's put 100 there and see what happens. Click off of it. Okay, so if we add 50 to this, it should turn this to be 100. Let's see what happens. And it does, and so we'll add 25 to it. And it changed it back to 50, so there must be something wrong with this script. So let's go back into Manage Our Scripts. And we're looking at the Add to Inventory script. So go to Field, Add to Location, the set variable, which would be the change, and then we're going to set this field, the inventory location, to stock, to inventory. Oh, well, here it is. This is our mistake right here. So we can't, it doesn't, we're not going to do the inventory to change. This needs to be the location to stock is what it needs to be, plus add stock. So we'll go ahead and approve that, and then we'll click off and we'll push the Control S so that it works for us, and then we'll exit the layout. I like to intentionally do things just to make you think, and also to create issues so that you can see what happens if you were to do the same thing. Now if we add 25, it will instantly go to 75. If we add 25 more, it will go to 100. These two numbers, 250 and 100, is equal to 350. And as you can see, these numbers you cannot change. And if you go into your list view, it will show you that you have 350 total stock. These are your minimum quantities. And then we can add, for the status button, what we can do is we can create an if statement, basically, or a script that says if stock 1 quantity is less than this minimum, or if stock 2 quantity is less than this minimum, that we want to put the word restock in here. This concludes the current video in this series. I hope you'll watch all of the video in the series. I am your host, Tim Hade, and this is the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching. Be sure that you keep in touch with us. We are available at cleanairvapors.com, Clean Air Vapors, or at Clean Air Vapors on Instagram and Twitter and all other forms of social media. I hope that you enjoyed what you saw, and I hope that you continue to watch the rest of the videos. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. I will get back with you. Just remember, these are some of the first videos that I've actually made that are tutorials, and I am trying desperately not to be boring, but the amount of information that is necessary is gigantic. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.